There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Please be seated. Honorable delegates, before we proceed, I would like to make the following announcement. The hybrid sitting constitutes the sitting of the National Council of Provinces. Delegates in the hybrid sitting enjoy the same powers and privileges that are applied in the sitting of the National Council of Provinces. For purposes of the quorum, all delegates who are logged on to the virtual platform shall be considered present. Delegates must switch on their videos if they want to speak. Delegates should ensure that the microphone on their gadgets are muted and must always remain muted unless they want to speak. All delegates in the chamber must connect to the virtual platform as well as insert their cards to register on the chamber system. Delegates who are physically in the chamber must use the floor microphone and should switch their microphone on when they need to address the chairperson. All delegates may participate in the discussion through the chat room. The interpretation facility is active. Permanent delegates, members of the executive special delegates, and SALGA representative on the virtual platform are requested to ensure that the interpretation facility on their gadgets are properly activated to facilitate access to the interpretation services. Permanent delegates and members of the executive in the chamber should use the interpretation gadgets on their desk to access the interpretation facilities. Honorable delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is with deep sense of sorrow that I announce on the 28th of February 2023, Honorable Mauricia Gillion, a permanent delegate who represented the province of the Western Cape in this house, untimely and suddenly departed this world. This is the strategic planning session of the committees of this house. Let us continue to celebrate her life as a committed and disciplined member of this house. We shall have messages of condolences later during this sitting. Before we proceed, I would like to take this opportunity to announce that a vacancy which occurred in the council owing to the resignation of Honorable Arnold has been filled by appointed of Honorable J. Makwala from Western Cape. We are welcome Honorable Makwala from the Western Cape. We can give him a good round of applause. I would also like to take this opportunity to extend our gratitude to Honorable Arnold for the fruitful contribution he has made to the business of the council during his tenure. We wish him well in his future endeavors. Honorable Makwala, as I indicated, we are welcome. And we also have the family of Honorable member who has departed, Honorable Gillion, the family. You are welcome to the National Council of Provinces. These are colleagues that used to work with her. This is the chamber that she was serving in. You are welcome. We can acknowledge the presence of the family, honorable members. Honorable delegates, I will now allow the opportunity to delegates to give notices of motion. Delegates who wish to give notice of motion should use the raise hand function. If we don't have, there's no problem. Honorable Ndongeni, you'll be the first one. Yes, I've noted all of.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I rise on behalf of the African National Congress that the House in its next sitting debates measures aimed at curtailing the spread of cholera before it becomes a pandemic in South Africa. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Ryder.
Thank you very much, House Chair. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move a motion that at the next sitting of this House that we debate the rising costs of the national debt in a post-COVID economy amidst the impact of grey listing by the Financial Action Task Force. I so move.
Thank you. Honorable Mtetwa.
Thank you, Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that in the House in the next sitting debates the strengthening of initiative geared at ending the killing of traditional leaders and izinduna, threatening the stability of that institution, which is played a critical role in stability and order of the society. I so move, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Matebula.
Nakhensa Chair, iku yimela vandla ra EFF. Eka ntshamo lowu landzelaka a ni tsakela ku hi debate hi ku tlakuka ka ku tirhisiwa ka swidzidzirisi eswikolweni. Nakhensa.
Thank you. Honorable Miamang.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. I rise on behalf of the African National Congress that the House in its next sitting debates the tightening of measures yet at stopping unscrupulous illegal loan sharks who are preying on our vulnerable and elderly by keeping their SASSA bank cards or ID without the authorization, using the cards as a guarantee or a collateral for clients who had borrowed money from them. I so move, Honorable House Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mushodi.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mine is motion without notice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Moletsane on the virtual platform.
Thank you, Chairperson. I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters that the Council in the next sitting debate the deteriorating state of our municipalities and the negative impact it has on the service delivery. I so move. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Moletsane. Honorable Motsamai.
Thank you, Chair. Is a notice of motion.
Motion.
It's notice of motion.
Okay, you can move.
I raise on the behalf of the economic freedom fighters that Council sitting next debate the registration crisis facing the institution of high learning, where year in and year out, poor Black students are finally excluded, denied student accommodation and their right to education. I so move.
Thank you. Honorable delegates, I will allow the opportunity for delegates who wish to move motion without notice.
On a point of order, I put up my hand for a motion. A motion with notice.
Sorry, honorable members. It won't do us any harm. Even the front desk miss you. I also miss you. Honorable Lamuskachen can be the last one.
Thank you. Chair, on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move a motion that at its next sitting, that this House debate the rising cost of living for all South Africans and the impact thereof. I so move.
Thank you. Next time you must greet me so that I must not forget you. That was on a lighter note. Now, honorable members, allow the opportunity now to wish to move motion without notice. You'll be, the first one will be Honorable Labuskachne. Now I'm starting that side. Yeah, the first one.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move without notice that this council notes that one of our fundamental rights enshrined in Chapter 2:12 of the Constitution, namely the right to freedom and security of the person, is being severely compromised due to incompetence of the Minister of Police and the ANC government to effectively implement their mandates. Notes that in the Western Cape, specifically due to under-resourcing and staff shortages, policing is being brought to its knees. Further notes that SAP's representatives admitted during a briefing at the Western Cape Provincial Parliament that the number of officers in the Western Cape province is currently below 20,000. And the DA calls on the President and the Minister of Police to devolve the policing powers to the Western Cape to provide the citizens a capable and competent police force that they deserve, as it is clear that the current situation is either the result of poor management by the Minister of Police or due to a lack of political will of the ANC as part of their failed strategy to hold on to power at all costs, even the lives of innocent citizens. I so move.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion?
Objection.
Thank you. As there is the objection, the notice of a motion will be printed in the full order paper as such. Honorable Ocampo.
Thank you, Honorable House Chairperson. Honorable House Chairperson, I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that this House notes with concern the failure by the Gamagara local municipality in the Northern Cape to deliver basic services such as the provision of water as contained in Chapter 2 of the Constitution of South Africa to the residents of Olifantshoek. Further notes that residents of Olifantshoek have been without water for prolonged periods of time, and that the reservoirs that provides water to the people of Olifantshoek is not being filled regularly. Further notes that water tanks that have been placed in Olifantshoek 2 years ago as a temporary alleviation of the effects of the water crisis are to date not being filled by the municipality on a regular basis. Also notes that no schools or clinics in Olifantshoek have got enough water to do basic sanitation. Further notes that the DA has on numerous occasions called on this municipality to fulfill its obligation towards the delivery of water and other basic services to the people of Olifantshoek, but to no avail. Notes that should the Gamagara local municipality not remedy the water crisis in Olifantshoek as a matter of utmost urgency, it will not only be the quality of the lives of the residents of Olifantshoek that are being jeopardized, it will also be the lives of its residents that will be at stake. That this House calls on the Gamagara local municipality to immediately put plans in action in order to provide water to Olifantshoek and its residents on a permanent basis. I so move.
Is there any objection to the motion?
Yes, there is.
There being an objection, the motion may not be proceeded with and will become a notice of a motion. Honorable Luthuli. Honorable Luthuli.
Thank you, Chairperson. I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters that the House notes ukuthi ngomhla 25 February 2023 umama nezingane zakhe ezintathu zitholakale zifile ekhaya kwaNtombazane eMkhondo eMpumalanga beqajwe ngembazo. Further notes that umama ubeneminyaka ewu-47, abafana bakhe abawu-2 abangamawele bena-11 years, kuthi indodakazi yakhe ina-6 years. Acknowledge that South Africa is indeed a crime scene and abantu besifazane baphila ngokusaba nokuthua kanye nabantwana. Further acknowledge that violence acts are committed against women and children on regular basis and that GBV remains one of the most pressing issues kuleli zwe la kuthinteka khona ikakhulukazi abantu besifazane nabantwana. The economic freedom fighters sends our heartfelt condolences to the family. May their souls rest in peace. I so move.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Bartlett.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, on behalf of the ANC, I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House notes with concern that a woman riddled with bullets tried to drive herself and a passenger to safety after they came under fire on Monday in Durban. Secondly, Chair, the two occupants of an SUV were shot in between Mansfield and Barrier Road on Monday. Thirdly, the driver of the vehicle was able to drive the vehicle to a nearby service station where they were assisted by emergency services, who declared the passenger dead and rushed the driver to hospital. Fourthly, we therefore pass our heartfelt condolences to the family of the deceased and wish the injured driver a speedy recovery. Lastly, Chair, we also call on the police to leave no stone unturned in the pursuit of the perpetrators. I so move, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Mama.
Thank you so much, Baba, Chairperson. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House notes concern that a truck slammed into 46 vehicles on the M41 near Umhlanga on Monday, 6 March 2023. Also note that at least 16 people, including pregnant women who had to be airlifted from the scene, had been caught up in the carnage. Further note that the Durban North Police are investigating a case of recklessness and negligence driving against a 23-year-old suspect who handed himself over to the police. We therefore wish all those injured a speedy recovery and call all a speedy investigation and finalization of the case. I so move, Chairperson.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Sheikh.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I rise on behalf of the African National Congress that the House commends the South African Revenue Services and other security organs for the seizure of 300 kilograms of pure cocaine, estimated to be worth 1.3 billion, from a container ship at the Durban Harbor on Friday, the 24th of February, 2023. Notes that the 300 kilogram of cocaine and what appeared to be cellular tracking devices was found in one of the containers aboard the ship after a week-long intelligence operation led by the South African Revenue Services National Targeting Unit. Also believes that the proliferation of drugs in South Africa pose a serious threat and are a cause of the violent crimes that wreak havoc in our communities. Also commends SARS for not tolerating the illegal activities, but continue to fulfill its mandate of facilitating legal trade to further economic development of our country, and call upon all South Africans to work together with government to fight the scourge of drugs and drug trafficking. I thank you.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Chabela.
Thanks, House Chair. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House knows that the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation Team seized 30 million rands worth of suspected illicit cigarette on a farm between Musina and Beitbridge, Port of Entry in Limpopo on Saturday, 25th February this year. Also knows that the multidisciplinary sting operation seized the contraband after receiving a tip of about illicit cigarettes that were kept at the farm waiting to be transported to different destinations in the country. Recalls that 5 suspects aged between 26 and 44 were arrested for contravening the Customs and Excise Act. Applauds the Directorate Priority Crime Investigation in Limpopo for their resolve and determination and efforts to combat the smuggling of illicit cigarettes in the country by paralyzing the syndicate operations, and also applaud the members of the public for working with law enforcement agencies by reporting crime. I so move.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Ryder.
Thank you very much, House Chair. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move without notice that this council notes the recent heavy rainfall across South Africa, notes the devastating impact of the flooding that it has had in various places, affecting South Africans from all walks of life. Further notes the impact of a lack of government planning across the spheres and how this has exacerbated the impacts of the floods. Notes the poor response from disaster manager structures, which are a district municipality competency. And that this House therefore use our close involvement with provincial and local governments to encourage regular maintenance of stormwater systems, prevention of littering and illegal dumping, maintenance of water courses, proper resourcing of disaster management, and strong intergovernmental coordination of such efforts. I so move.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Baha.
Thank you, House Chair. Thank you, House Chair. On behalf of the Indomitable Democratic Alliance, I hereby move without notice that this council notes the exceptional performance of the Protea women's cricket team in the recent T20 World Cup. Secondly, commends the exceptional passion and fortitude with which our team approached the tournament. While acknowledging the overall achievements, share the disappointment of the team at the final result, noting the brilliance of our opponents on the day, and move that we send our congratulations to the team, emphasizing our gratitude for their nation-building efforts at a time when it is needed. I so move, Chair.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Mushodi.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House notes with a great shock the tragic death of the Free State Education MEC, Honorable Tate Makwe, and his bodyguard warrant officer, William D, in the car crash on the N1 outside Wynberg on Sunday, the 5 March 2023. Recall that the MEC Makwe was sworn as a member of the Free State Legislature in May 1994. He served as the MEC for Education since May 2009. Acknowledging that as the MEC, he has successfully led Free State basic education sector, enabling it to achieve South African best matriculant results for 4 consecutive years. Believe that this immense contribution and success in the education in the Free State province is attributed mainly to his leadership, dedication, understanding of the sector, and the innovation which has yielded great results. Convey deepest condolences to the family, friend, and colleague of Comrade Tate Makwe and his protector, and wish the surviving driver a speedy recovery.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Boshoff from the virtual platform.
Thank you very much, Honourable House Chair. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move without notice that this council notes that the DA in Tabachero local municipality is concerned about the increase in cable theft and the municipality's aging infrastructure that keeps on prolonging load shedding. Further notes that even though load shedding is a national crisis, this municipality should not only blame Eskom, but should take action to combat cable theft. Notes that the continuous awareness campaigns on social media platforms does little to nothing to stop these criminals from committing this crime. Again, notes that Tabachero local municipality's lack of action and lack of concern regarding this issue most definitely poses an unprecedented threat to the town's economic development, which will only lead to more jobs being lost as businesses will be forced to close down. Notes that Tabachero local municipality cannot expect businesses and households to carry the burden of these additional power cuts because they have not come up with long-term solution. Again, notes that the TCM leadership needs to step up and review their aging infrastructure to allow for the implementation of changes in order of priority. And we therefore call on the Executive Mayor, Frida Nkadimeng, to come out of hiding and not follow in the steps of her president and oversee the sustainable provision of decent services to the communities of Tabachero. The DA will continue holding this municipality to account. I so move. Thank you, House Chair.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion?
I object.
There being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of section 65.
No, House Chair, I did object.
There being an objection, the motion may not be proceeded with and will become a notice of a motion.
Thank you, Honourable Maleka. Now I can
Honourable
go to the
Dutoit
people.
on a virtual platform. Order. Honourable Dutoit on a virtual platform.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. I move on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus without notice that this House notes that the Makwasi Hills municipal areas that include Leeudoringstad, Makwasi, and Wolmaranstad in the Northwest Province have been struggling without water supply or with water supply issues for months. Notes that certain areas have been without water for up to 12 continuous days and that constant load shedding is contributing to the problem. Notes that this House have been informed of the water supply issue in this municipal area on a previous occasion and notes that urgent intervention is required. I so move. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the motion? There being an objection, the motion may not be proceeded with and will become a notice of a motion. Thank you. I've been very generous and I've accommodated as many as I possibly can. Honorable delegates, we shall now proceed to the motion as printed on the order paper in the name of Honorable Chief Whip. I'll now call upon Honorable Ntate Mohai to present the motion, our Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, House Chair. I move that the motion on the order paper, which seeks to establish an ad hoc committee of the two houses, the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces, to deal with the matter of the devastating floods that has extended to deal with 7 out of 9 provinces at the current moment, that the committee be established as it is proposed on the order paper. I so move, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip. We now proceed voting on the motion. I shall put the question, and the question is that the motion be agreed to. Before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of vote in terms of Rule 86, if they so wish. I'll now call upon provinces to cast their vote. I'll do it in alphabetical order. In favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape Yavu.
Thank you. Free State.
Free State is in favor, Honorable House Chairperson.
Thank you. Gauteng.
Gauteng in favor, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ambassador. KwaZulu Natal.
IKwaZulu Natal iyayeseka sihlalo.
Thank you, Mama. Limpopo,
Limpopo support.
thank you. Mpumalanga,
Mpumalanga supports, Honorable Chair.
thank you. Northern Cape,
Northern Cape supports, Honorable Chairperson.
thank you. Northwest,
Bokoni Bophirima ba e amogela modulasetulo.
thank you. Western Cape,
Western Cape support.
thank you. 9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the motion agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates will now proceed to the order, consideration of the report of the Select Committee on Finance. I now call report of the 7th of March 2023 fiscal framework and revenue proposal. I now call upon Honorable Zet Mkiva, member of the Select Committee on Finance, to present the committee report. Which one?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, House Chair.
Afternoon.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and allow me to acknowledge the Chairperson of the NCOP, the Deputy Chairperson, as well as the Chief Whip of the NCOP. And I extend my greetings to the members of this august House, and allow me, Chair, as well, just to add my voice on the untimely departure of one of our colleagues. We are really taken aback, but we want to say to the family, our condolences are in order and we're with them during this tough time in their lives. Chair, I have been mandated by the Finance Committee, the Select Committee on Finance, under the stewardship of the veteran parliamentarian who is a member of our own ANC, the Honorable Karim Yunis, to table this report of the Select Committee on the 2023 fiscal framework and revenue proposals dated the 7th of March 2023. Allow me, Chairperson, to say that this is a 39-page dossier. And what we have done, we have shared it with the members in advance so that they have a full appreciation of what is entailed in this document. This document is a well-detailed document that talks to all the matters that affect us insofar as the finances of the country are concerned. And most importantly, at the bottom of this document, we have put together very good and progressive proposals for the consideration of the NCOP. As you all know, the Minister of Finance, the 22nd of February, in terms of Section 27 of PFMA Act number 1 of 1999, as well as Section 7 of the Money Bills Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Act of 2009, tabled the national budget. The Minister, the Deputy Minister, and senior officials from the National Treasury briefed the committees on finance on the 23rd and the 28th February 2023. The committees received post-budget tabling input from the Parliamentary Budget Office and the Financial and Fiscal Commission on the 28th of February 2023. Most importantly, Chairperson, the committees held public hearings on the 1st March 2023 and received 15 written and oral submissions from a number of organizations, including COSATU, including FCSG, including the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, as well as the South African Institute of Tax Professionals, PricewaterhouseCoopers, the Healthy Living Alliance, the Institute of Economic Justice, Amandla Mobi, as well as many other institutions, including institutions of higher learning like University of Johannesburg, University of Cape Town, and other associations, Chairperson. The reason why I am foregrounding and mentioning this organization, it's because, Chairperson, we had a very good and a robust engagement with these organizations, amongst others. But there were also organizations that come from the margins of society, which were allowed to engage with the committee. The spirit of those engagements were very constructive. And if there were few people who were destructive, I would say those ones were quite very minor issues, and their contribution as well, it is noted, destructive as it may be, because it helps us to sharpen our thinking, to sharpen our thoughts, so that as we come up with the proposals, we come up with something that is all-encompassing, House Chair. The National Treasury gave us an overview of the budget. And as you know, the minister's briefing with the committees of finance provided this overview on the basis of giving us an indication that our economy, at some point, it is going to be slow because it is informed by what is also happening in the economic activity of the globe. But the gross domestic product growth is now projected at an average of 1.4, Chairperson, for this current financial year, as opposed to last year, where the projection was 1.6%. So between now, 2023 to 2025, we're looking at 1.4 kind of growth, which we are projecting as informed by the National Treasury, Chairperson. Chairperson, the National Treasury says that there is no other way to look at enhancing the growth of our economy other than looking at the instrument which we have already established in order to stabilize our macroeconomic policy framework. And this is based on the policy implementation of reforms through Operation Vulindlela, as well as the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan, Chairperson. Siyafuna ukutsho kubantu bakuthi into yokubana inkqubo mgomo eseyithathiwe lisebe lezimali yokokubana sivuselele ulwakhiwo lomnotho welizwe lakokwethu uhamba kakuhle uzothi ganga lomzuzu, kwaye imicimbi echotshelweyo lisebe lezimali liquka into engumceli mngeni wokuwa kombane. Sisithi urhulumente we-ANC uyawuqwalasela lo mcimbi kwaye utshotsha entla ekuqinisekiseni into yobana iyaguqula le nyewe ukuze izibane zihlale zilayitile kumakhaya ethu. Siyafuna ukutsho futhi ubana isebe lezimali liyayiqinisekisa into yobana lizawuthi gqolorhoqoqo linika inkxaso engathethekiyo kwisebe lezothutho ukuqinisekisa into kokubana uhlahlo lwabiwomali luyangenelela kwelo cala. Ngamxhelomnye siyaqinisekisa into yokubana siyalwisana nobuhange, nobugelemku, nobuhelegu borhwaphilizo kwemali zabantu kweli lizwe. The National Treasury explained that the government's medium-term fiscal strategy aims to achieve fiscal stability by narrowing the budget deficit and stabilizing debt and supporting economic growth. Ngaphandleni kokuthingaza, kumele siqinisekise into kokubana siyaluzinzisa ubume bemali elizweni lethu, ukuqinisekisa into kokubana sakha ikamva elizaba noqilima lokuqinisekisa into yobana siyabasusa abantu bethu endlaleni, kwaye sakha namathuba okuqinisekisa uba sivelisa imisebenzi efunekayo. Ngamxhelomnye senza inguqulelo elizweni lethu yokwenzela uba sivale umsantsa okhoyo phakathi kwabantu abazizityebi nabantu abangamahlwempu, ukwenzela into kokubana ulusu lwelizwe lakokwethu lukhangeleke lilulusu lelizwe elinabemi abalinganayo. The National Treasury attributed higher than expected revenue to positive growth in most major tax base despite intensified load shedding and weaker global economic conditions. As a result, the gross tax revenue estimate for 2023 is projected to be 93.7 billion, higher than projected in 2022 budget, partly supported by the improved tax compliance and tax administration. The medium-term revenue estimates are also expected to be marginally better than projected previously. Kuyacaca sihlalo into kokubana njengoko senditshilo umsebenzi esiwenzayo uyawuvelisa umahluko ebantwini bakokwethu. Naku sesibona into kokubana isebe lezimali liyasixelela ngokucacileyo ukubana siphakamise kakuhle ukusukela kulonyaka kupheleyo ukuzotsho ngalo mzuzu. The South African economy is expected to decelerate from 4.9% in 2021 to 2.5% in 2022. National Treasury expects the GDP growth at an average of that 1.4 for the next 3 years, Chairperson, as I have already indicated. Chairperson, allow me to now go straight and focus into the recommendations and observations which we have made. But I must hasten to say that out of those deliberations, as well as the contributions that we have received from people at grassroots level, including their institutions, this has not only enriched our proposals as well as our observations, but it has helped us to come up with robust proposals that are going to even make more improvements going forward, Chairperson. Here are some of the summaries which have been made, for instance, by the PBO. The PBO commented on the economic impact of the 2023 budget as follows, that the National Treasury projection of GDP growth over the medium term illustrate how fiscal consolidation hinders GDP growth, and that projected government consumption expenditure, which is expected to decline by an average of 0.6% annually over the medium term, will make a negative contribution to the GDP growth predicted. PBO's view is that the focus depends on recovery in investments, and that the National Treasury investment projections have consistently been too high and again seem unjustifiably high in 2023 budget.
Honorable Mkiva, try to round up. I'm affording you a minute to round up.
Chairperson, given the fact that this presentation for this report has been shared with all the members, allow me on behalf of the ANC to ask this august House to consider this report and adopt it as per the list of those recommendations and the observations that we have made. The ANC has confidence in both in its policy trajectory, but also on the proposals that are coming from the grassroots. And I wish to ask this House, therefore, to accept this report and consider those proposals so that they form part and parcel of the way forward as we chart recovery of our economy. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you. Honorable Labuskafne, you are recognized.
Pardon?
You are recognized, Honorable Labuskaf.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I rise on a point of order that a chairperson of any committee has 10 minutes to speak. I should read the report. It's not a privilege for the chairperson to do a declaration on how the House should vote. And I really don't want this to become a precedent in this House. It's not part of the report of the committee.
Thank you. Other members, we are raising a valid point. It's an issue that we have to seriously consider moving forward. Honorable delegates, I will now put the question. The question is that the report be adopted. Before we proceed to voting, I will allow provinces the opportunity to make declaration of vote in terms of Rule 86, if they so wish. Western Cape.
Thank you. As Chair, Honorable Chair, fiscal policy is underpinned in the identification of the risk, by the identification of risks and the response to mitigate these risks. There are 5 dominating risks staring South Africa in the face. The first is our obvious electricity generation deficiency, a situation brought about by the ANC policy dating back to decisions made by the then President Thabo Mbeki and exacerbated by the cadre deployment policy that has eroded the organization. The second is the national debt, paying off the plundering of the state by the African National Congress, not only under Jacob Zuma, but before his tenure and still continuing today. Our debt repayments are crowding out spending on government services. We are paying off the drunk uncle's credit card and are not able to put food on the table or pay the children's school fees as a result. Our debt position is now made worse by the Eskom debt swap, but the conditions of the swap are woefully inadequate to ensure a positive outcome for South Africa. The third dominating risk is the grey listing by the FATF, which will impact our exchange rate, reduce the availability of capital, and increase the cost of doing business. This is not unrelated to the first risk, and the spiral to grey listing began years ago with the abolishment of the scorpions. The lack of coordination amongst the FIC and other responsible bodies, and the erosion of our prosecuting capabilities, all a result of ANC meddling to cover the tracks of those involved in state capture. The fourth big risk is the obvious partisan position that ANC government are taking in Russia's war in the Ukraine, whilst fiercely denying our stance. We are trying our hardest to return to our position of the skunks of the world. The last big risk is the public wage bill. Cadre deployment being what it is, the comrades need to be kept happy in the run-up to an election. The summary is that South Africa currently faces financial and economic ruin, with the ANC government consistently taking bad decisions. ANC policy is responsible for bringing us to our knees. This report, kowtowing to the executive's fiscal policy and re-entrenching failed policies, is not a solution to South Africa's problems. Our only hope is a DA-led government with our economic justice policy underpinning our fiscal framework. Woza 2024.
Thank you. Order. Wazulu Natal. Honorable Karim.
Chairperson, the only thing the honorable member forgot to mention is that the ANC is responsible for the intense heat in my province, KZN, right? And it's responsible for the rain that's taking place today. That's all that she didn't mention. For the rest, if her grandchild's having a birthday party on Saturday and it rains, guess who's going to be blamed, Chairperson? The ANC. Yeah. Now, somebody says Jan van Riebeck. I think there might be more relevance to using that name than the ANC. We are not as powerful as she makes out, you know, that we are also powerful that we can do all the things she says. And quite frankly, the question is, has she read the report? All the things she says are covered there. And we have committed ourselves as a parliamentary committee to attend to them. So let's start with the electricity crisis. We have said, in fact, the ANC leadership has said, and in the committees of parliament, we have said that we are mainly responsible for the crisis. We haven't run away from it. Now we have to deal with it. And only we can deal with it as we, the majority party, right? We can work with other parties, but apart from privatization, what answer has she got? We have said that, you know, we need public-private partnerships. We need a variety of private sector participation forms. It doesn't have to be privatization, Chairperson. Water and electricity are as necessary as air. We cannot hand over fundamental rights that are in our socio-economic rights in the Constitution to the private sector. Yes, we can work with them, but they're not going to take over, Chairperson. That would be undermining the liberation struggle that many, many people fought for over decades. And many, many people sacrificed for, not to hand it over to the private sector. But yes, the private sector is most welcome to participate. She talks about grey listing. True. We brought this upon ourselves. We brought it down, though, in a mere 6 months from 67 objections the FATF had to 8. We still have to go further. Some of the issues you raised are right. They don't belong to our committee. They deal with the justice in case of NPA. They deal with the police in the case of the police committee, and we need to work with them. In fact, we said that Treasury should come with an overall report that we want to interrogate. We even suggested meeting as generic as many committees. You are the power that be in this parliament. You have a program to deal with some of these issues, and you should encourage us to work together. On the issue of debt, now there, Mr. Honorable Member, it's there. It's there, literally there in the sense, calm down, but there also by looking at the report. The report is clear. It brings down the budget deficit, not enough. It does so without necessarily, and that's what the committees must preoccupy themselves with, not just our committee, human settlements, the COGTA and so on. Let's have that budget deficit, but not at the expense of the poor and disadvantaged. Then we ask her, listen, we understand you're talking about. Yes, we also are
As you
reducing the debt
conclude-
over 3 years. What do you want? We're doing exactly that, but we're not sacrificing the poor and the disadvantaged. No, no, no.
Thank you. Thank you. Order. We shall now proceed to voting on the question, and the question is that the report be agreed to. I'll now call
Chairperson,
provinces
may I
in
raise a
their
point of order,
alphabetical.
Chairperson? Is it parliamentary for somebody to take a position on a report that she hasn't read? I think you know who I'm referring to. Is that parliamentary?
Chairperson, on a point of order,
Chairperson, we should not be so
on a point of
upfront
order.
with Mr. Mkiva's
Order,
lack of
members.
reading the paper.
Through you, Chairperson, I want to remind the Chairperson to read the rules of the NCOP, and then you will see that reports are voted on by provinces. So as the majority party changes the rules, and you will get something different.
It's not, provinces have done declarations, we're done. We're doing it in alphabetical order. Eastern Cape, we're voting.
Iyavuma.
Thank you. Free State. Free
Free
State.
State, vote in favor, Honorable House Chairperson.
Thank you. Gauteng.
Gauteng in favor, Chairperson.
Thank you. KwaZulu Natal.
IKwaZulu Natal iyayeseka sihlalo.
Thank you. Limpopo.
Limpopo support the report.
Thank you. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Northwest.
Northwest support, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Western Cape.
Proudly object.
8 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report adopted in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Order, members. Honorable members, we now proceed to the oration and condolence. Firstly, once again, let me welcome the family of Honorable Gillion. Honorable members, we now proceed to the oration and condolences on the passing of Honorable Morentia and Gillion. I'll now call upon the Honorable Ntate Masondo, the Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, to start the oration, who is on the visual platform. Honorable Chairperson of the NCOP, Honorable Masondo.
No, thank you very much, Chair. The video is not open, so I'm in trouble in terms of. They said the host has stopped the video from being shown, so there's a bit of a problem.
Sorry, Ntate Masondo, let's try to. Can we have?
Otherwise, I'll continue. Yes. No, thank you very much.
It's open now. It's open, Ntate Masondo.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much, honorable members. Greetings to everybody. Dumelang, Madam. House Chairperson for Committees and Oversight, Honorable Jomo Nyambi, the Gillian family, as well as the extended family, leaders of faith-based organizations, the NCOP Chief Whip, Honorable Seiso Mohai, permanent and special delegates, representatives of the South African Local Government Association, SALGA, ladies and gentlemen. Program Director, it is with a sad and heavy heart that I deliver a message on this occasion of the oration of condolences on the passing of Honorable Morentia Natali Gillian, a member of this House who passed on last week. The unexpected and sudden nature of her death in the course of her work traumatized many of us. who were in a company when she took her last breath. It is a moment that will be difficult to forget. Her death left us in a state of grief, inexplicable shock and anguish as we continue to reflect after she had passed on. We realized that nothing could have prepared us for what happened as she succumbed to death while we were hoping that she would respond positively to the attempts to resuscitate her. On Honorable Gideon's role in the NCOP, as one of the two houses of parliament, the National Council of Provinces has a constitutional responsibility to represent the interest of the provinces. It also provides for a representation of the different categories of municipalities in parliament and plays an important role in overseeing cooperation among the different spheres of government, namely national, provincial, and local government. The late Honorable Gillian was deployed by a political organization, the African National Congress, to represent the people of the province of the Western Cape in this house. She had the responsibility to serve in this organ of people's power to assist with the critical role of the transformation of our society, a responsibility that was close to her heart. Since her appointment to the NCOP in 2019, she has served, amongst other roles, as the chairperson of the Select Committee on Health and Social Services. The committee deals with some of the key functional areas of concurrent national and provincial legislative competence. These are areas which are at the heart of the country's transformation agenda. As part of her duties, she led the committee of the NCOP, which oversees the important service delivery areas of health, social development, women, youth development, and persons with disabilities. Given her role, she was central in the building of the new society. She, as an activist, was central to the building of a better life for all and ensuring that we accelerate our march towards a truly reconstructed, transformed, unified, and developed South Africa, whose citizens, black and white, equally enjoy better and fulfilling lives. Honorable House Chairperson, the mission of building of a new society is born out of the realization that our society was severely impacted on by colonial oppression, racial discrimination, and violence, including violence associated with the systemic social and economic exclusion. Therefore, our late colleague's work was in pursuit of a goal of transforming our society. The nation's agenda in this regard includes prioritizing the rights of women, children, and people with disabilities, as well as the previously disadvantaged, and to work tirelessly to eradicate discrimination and violence against women and discrimination and violence against children. Many would agree, Chairperson, that Honorable Gideon was cut out for this great task. Her political colleagues from the ANC in the Western Cape have praised her for standing for the poor and the downtrodden. They have expressed appreciation for her activism for farm dwellers and farm workers. They have acknowledged her passion for rural development and her contribution in the struggle for women empowerment. On what the Honorable Gillian stands for, Program Director, while her passing was a moment of deep shock and frustration, it however reminded us once more about how incredibly fragile life is, and that life is too precious to be taken for granted. Like a brave and true activist who was rooted in a community in the Overberg region, Honorable Gillian died with her boots on. Perhaps it is in the manner of an unexpected and shocking death that we must find solace. She died serving the people of South Africa, particularly the previously disadvantaged and the poor. Those who worked closely with her in the countryside say that she was always there to pick up the struggle on behalf of the weak, that she was always there when perseverance was required, that she was always there to speak her mind against injustice, that she was always there ready to strike when circumstances demanded, and that she was always there to provide guidance as a leader, as a sister and a mother, and as a comforter to those in pain and grief. We will always remember her in the NCOP for always being at the ready to pull the punches. She did not think twice to set the proverbial cat among the pigeons. Although she would not say it, it was clear to some of us that she would not mind a temporary suspension of the rules when a debate got heated. However, she accepted the importance of maintaining the decorum of the House. She accepted and understood the importance of upholding the dignity of the House. The death of Honorable Gillian robbed us of a great soul. As poet Maya Angelou wrote, quote, "A great soul serves everyone all the time. A great soul never dies. It brings us together again and again," close quote. In conclusion, House Chairperson, thank you for the opportunity to lead the oration of the condolences on the passing of Honorable Morentia Rutali Gillian, a great soul of the NCOP and the people of the Western Cape, indeed of the people of South Africa. We are all pained by her passing. However, I may add, we are comforted by the fact that she passed on with her sleeves rolled up. We do not pretend to understand the pain that her family is going through at the moment, but we wish them all the strength to go through this period of grief and to find ways of coping with this monumental loss. On behalf of the NCOP, we extend heartfelt condolences to the members of the Gillian family, the relatives, the friends, and indeed the colleagues. Please find comfort to Zegani, Abutanga, Lungeslanga, Bayatanki.
Thank you. That's the leader of the NCOP, that's Ntate Masondo. Thank you, Honorable Masondo. The second speaker is Honorable Bacha on behalf of the Democratic Alliance.
Thank you, House Chair. Members of the Gillian family, Honorable Chair, honorable members, and fellow South Africans, good day. This is one of the most difficult speeches that I've had to participate in since joining Parliament in 2016. I have known Honorable Gillian since I joined the NCOP in 2019, and we have maintained collegiality since then. It is with great sadness, but also great joy that I'm able to address you today. Great sadness at losing a stalwart in the political arena, but great joy in knowing that I have served with Honorable Gillian in efforts to be the change we want to see for many South Africans, particularly the youth and women of our country. Honorable Gillian was sitting right behind me when she collapsed and her life came to a tragic end. However, this is an opportunity to pay tribute to her for the work she has done for the betterment of people's lives in South Africa and the Western Cape, from where she was a delegate. I served under her leadership in the Select Committee on Health and Social Services since the beginning of the 6th Parliament in 2019. In that Select Committee, we served and participated as equals, always ready and eager to make our contributions. At no stage would we find any of us not allowed to make his or her contribution in the deliberations with different departments. I could hear her agreeing with the presentation and deliberations made by our support staff during the workshop. That's an indication of a commitment and interest in pursuing the betterment of our service delivery to the people, something that she displayed until her last day of life and something I hope more members take upon them. She lives at a point when we are all attempting to find endeavors and different ways of ensuring that we provide the best services to South Africans. This is a huge loss to the committee and the entire struggle for policy making and ensuring implementation, to lose such a dedicated leader. Indeed, death comes like a thief, for I witnessed such incident on the 28th of February. Rest well, Kawegas. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, we send our sincere condolences to the Gillion family and relatives and the African National Congress. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Baha. That was on behalf of the Democratic Alliance. The next speaker is Honorable Lutuli on behalf of the Economic Freedom Fighters.
Chairperson, greetings to the family and friends of Honorable Gillion. Chairperson, on behalf of the Economic Freedom Fighters, I wish to extend our deepest and heartfelt condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of Honorable Gillion. Honorable Gillion dedicated her life to our people, in particular the people of Western Cape Province, whom she was representing in this house. And in so doing, provided us all with an example of what a true servant of the people is about. As the chairperson of a select committee on health and social services, Honorable Gillion chaired with dignity and commanded the respect of all members of parliament and the public. She was fair and would, during engagement, allow all parties space to engage, expressing different views without being oppressed by the opposition. She was a woman of integrity and was committed to ethical government. Today, we remember her efforts in the social development of our people, in uprooting poverty and removing structural inequality in society. We remember the passion she displayed in developing the people of Western Cape, and particularly those of Overberg District Municipality, where she once was served as a mayor. Chairperson, Honorable Gillion envisioned a country which looks after all its people, especially those living in the rural areas. So much so that we must acknowledge that she must have been disappointed by the direction which the party she represents is taking. She must have been hurt by the lack of transformation provided to the poor, vulnerable, and those who with special needs, and by how the poor continue to suffer the effects of mismanaged economy, which is a result of the ruling party's incompetence, which fails to the poorest of the poor. She must have been pained, Chairperson, by the promise of a better life for the poor, vulnerable, and excluded people in our country have not materialized of anything, and how there have been no redirection in poverty. She must have been saddened by the tragic state of our education system, which year in and year out displays the same failures, which absolutely nothing is being done to address these failures, in how the country continues to lag far behind the developing infrastructure for schools as laid in our norms and standards for school infrastructure. Chairperson, Honorable Gillion dedicated her life to the freedom of our people. Her determination and effort to help others brought hope to ordinary South African and demonstrated values that we as public representatives treasures and aspire to. Our select committee meetings on will not be the same without her. She will be dearly missed. As economic freedom fighters, we will keep her memory alive by picking up the spear and continue the war for the economic emancipation of our people by prioritizing poor people at provincial and local government level. May her soul rest in peace and may her family and friends be comforted. Hamba kahle, lala ngoxolo, Honorable Gillion. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Honorable Khatebe on behalf of Inkatha Freedom Party.
Thank you, Honorable House Chairperson. You will pardon me for a raspy voice. I've had a bout of flu. Honorable Chairperson, the Gillian family, the IFP would like to express its sorrow and sympathy on the unexpected passing of Honorable Maureen Chanetly Gillian. I'm very grateful to have served with her in bettering our country. May we never forget her dynamic persona and dedication to our line of work as we carry the baton to a more developed and progressive country. Losing Honorable Gillian is a blow to the entire House and our democracy. Having served as a mayor in the Overberg District Municipality in the period between 2006 and 2010, then moving to join the Western Cape Provincial Parliament in the period between 2014 and 2019, and then joining the NCOP, Honorable Gillian resembled a committed individual in her political quest to contribute to the country in the best way she knew. We implore all members to not let Honorable Gillian and all other fallen colleagues' efforts to the House and the country in vain. We need to continue building a House of Representatives which is trustworthy, reliable, and making a difference in the lives of those we represent on a daily basis. I would also like to wish everyone who saw the events leading up to Honorable Gillian's loss of life well. It may not be easy to experience a beloved colleague to lose their life in that way, and more so be there to experience it. May you all find a helping hand through living in with the trauma. In closing, we as the IFP would like to extend our heartfelt condolences to her family, friends, and all loved ones who she shared her heart with. May you hold the memories you have with her close, and we wish you all the strength in healing. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Khatebe. The next speaker is Honorable Dutoit, representing the Freedom Front Plus on the virtual platform. Honorable Dutoit.
Honorable Chair, Gillian family, the passing of the late Honorable Gillian was indeed an unexpected shock to all. Our heartfelt condolences to her family, friends, and colleagues. Serving on Select Committee of Health and Social Services, she always debated in favor of the community she represented and served, advocating for better services to the young and the vulnerable. Health and social services are two very important portfolios that form, among others, the foundation of a community. South Africa currently has tremendous challenges as a result of the service delivery issues in the health sector. And the past week, the health sector was brought to a standstill as a result of union protest action that is taking place to the detriment of the country and its people. Now, this is happening, Chair, in the shadow of the recent health provision challenges that occurred during the COVID state of disaster period. The honourable member advocated strongly against gender-based violence and femicide and debated with vigour with every opportunity presented. Crime is rife in South Africa. The fact that unemployment, joblessness, and hunger and stunting is on the increase, more and more strain is placed on social services in the country. Social services not only need to focus on the physical needs of communities, but more importantly, on the emotional and the psychosocial needs that needs to be addressed. Let's focus on the objective. No two people will take the same route on the journey of life, even if they need to reach the same destination. The people you touch in a positive way while you're en route give your journey purpose. The milestones you lay while you're en route sets the parameters for others to follow. And the challenges you overcome on the way paves the way to success. And when you reach your goal, your proverbial top of the hill, the fire you light must be a beacon of hope, honesty, and humble success, a statute of achievement. May your soul rest in peace. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Tutoy. That was on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus. The next speaker is Honorable Christian on behalf of the Democratic Alliance on the virtual platform. Honorable Christian.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson. Members of the Gillian family, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable members, and fellow South Africans. Today we gather in a deep state of sorrow and mourning on the passing of Morentia Natalie Gillian, a respected member of our community and a devoted public servant. She was also a beloved friend to many. Her untimely death has left us all in a state of grief and shock. Honorable Gillian was a well-known figure in the ANC Western Cape, particularly in the rural parts of the province. And during select committee meetings, you would often hear her speak on behalf of those communities. She served in the Select Committee on Health and Social Services, where she made a significant impact on the lives of many South Africans. Honorable Gillian's contributions to her community extended far beyond her political career. As we remember her life and legacy, we must take comfort in the knowledge that Honorable Gillian made a profound difference in the lives of those she touched, especially her family, friends, and also in her community. Her contributions to the ANC, to the Western Cape Provincial Parliament, and to the National Council of Provinces will be remembered with great fondness and admiration. Honorable Gillian was a diligent member and chairperson of the Select Committee on Health and Social Services. She was committed to ensuring that government departments were held accountable for addressing the challenges faced by communities. She consistently demonstrated her dedication to this cause by posing tough questions to ministers and departments during committee meetings, as well as insisting on receiving satisfactory responses. Her efforts were aimed at ensuring that the needs and concerns of South Africans were addressed effectively, and her contributions in this regard will be remembered with gratitude. We extend our deepest condolences to Honorable Gillian's family, friends, and colleagues in the National Council of Provinces. We cannot begin to imagine the depth of loss, but we hope they can take some comfort in the knowledge that she made a significant impact on the lives of many South Africans during her time with us. We also extend our heartfelt condolences to the ANC, who has lost a valued member and a true leader. In closing, we offer our prayers and also our support to those who are grieving Honorable Gillian's passing. May her memory be a blessing to all who knew her. Thank you, House Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Christians. That was on behalf of the Democratic Alliance once again. I'll now invite the Chief Whip of the National Council of Provinces, Honorable Mohai.
Thank you of the colleagues and officials, especially those who witnessed his collapse and the ultimate passing on that fateful day, 28 February 2023. This day will forever remain on the history of the National Council of Provinces in the 6th Democratic Parliament as one of those that are most memorable for many generations of MPs to come. Not only because Honorable Morentia Gillian was one of our own, but because of diligence, hard work, and ability to manage group dynamics that made every voice to be heard. These are among the special and rare qualities of Honorable Gillian, which made lasting impression to many of her colleagues across party political lines. Comrade Gillian knew when to facilitate consensus and allow every voice to be heard, and she also knew when to pick up a fight. All of us would agree she was very fearless. When such moment arrives, she will speak up her views without fail. Honorable Chairperson, And I'm sure honorable members will agree that one of the attributes we'll remember her for is high modicum of respect and humility with which she would always express her disagreement, especially with the members, even in engagement with the members of the opposition parties. She understood that we are all South African defined by common desire to rid our country of the apartheid colonial legacy of poverty, unemployment, and underdevelopment. We are not enemies despite our different ideological and political affiliation. Her loyalty to her party, the party of choice to the democratic majority to lead the project of transformation in this country, the African National Congress, was unparalleled. This she did not to blind her, as it is usually common temptation to many politicians to elevate their party interests above the interests of the people of South Africa. We can rightfully argue that this is perhaps what inspired her untiring patience and ability to listen to different views, including those she did not like. This is the Mauritius Gillian that we know, have worked and lived with till her last breath on that fateful day of her passing. She has left a big void in the select committee she was chairing and other committees where she was member. The only honor we can bestow to her legacy is by emulating her exemplary work ethic and conduct by renewing and reinvigorating our collective efforts to accelerate the realization of a better life for all, the ideal that she lived and died for. Honorable Chairperson, allow me on behalf of the African National Congress and indeed the people of South Africa to express our gratitude to the family of Comrade Gillian for their generosity of sharing a mother, a sister, an aunt, and grandmother with the African National Congress and the people of South Africa in service of a better future for all. We therefore extend our heartfelt condolences to the family of the late Honorable Mauritius Gillian, her friends, comrades, provincial leadership of the African National Congress, at whose behest she was serving in this august house. We will miss you, dear sister and a comrade. We will miss you as a reliable soldier for reconstruction and development. Let your spirit rest in eternal peace. Long live the fighting spirit of Honorable Gillian, long live.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip, Ntatemohai, Chief Whip of the National Council of Provinces. Honorable delegates, that concludes the oration of condolences. We will now observe a moment of silence. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you. Once again, on behalf of the leadership of the NCOP, as correctly elaborated by Tadema Sondo, the chair of the NCOP, would like to thank the family for borrowing and allowing us and also joining us in this day when we were celebrating a life well lived. All of us in one voice were saying, her beautiful soul must rest in eternal peace. Honorable delegates, that concludes the business of the day. The House is adjourned. Thank you.